Another example that comes to mind is the peninsula MtAthos. Okay, it's a mountainous peninsula in the north of Greece, and it's completely covered in monasteries. One of the peculiarities of MtAthos is that no women are allowed on MtAthos. Okay, or as they sometimes say, no women but St. Mary, right, are allowed on MtAthos. The big exception was, I'm told, that they hid some Jewish women refugees during World War II. Right, I have not verified that. Right. Now, this has become a matter of contention in the EU. Right. When Greece entered the European Union, they did so with an explicit provision in the treaty that MtAthos was exempt, right, or particularly exempt from the requirement that everyone can go wherever they want. So there's freedom of movement in the European Union, and you aren't supposed to have a spot where you say one race, class, gender, etc. can't go. And yet there's this big exception, MtAthos. And occasionally there's some rumblings in the EU Parliament. Occasionally some people protest and say, no, this isn't just. Right? Of course, the people it affects most probably, there is the principle of the thing, and the people it affects most probably might be some, say, Byzantine historians or especially art historians who now don't have access to a hands-on look at the buildings, the architecture, the icons, etc. But of course, what we have here is the fact that the only reason the EU has authority in the first place was because of a treaty which explicitly gives this exemption. Okay. There's also some people will say, but wait, this is a monastery, right? It's a monastery. They're designed to be single sex. Okay. And there's also the fact that flat out, well, their charter didn't really come from Greece. Their charter comes from the Byzantine Empire, right? It's about 1,000 years old. Okay, I mean, right. So basically, it's not just that, Greece got an exception, right? But their charter way predates not only the EU, but Greece itself, right? By 700 or 800 years, right? So here's a case where conservatives might come along and say, no, wait a minute, right? This is an exceptional circumstance. It's a unique place, right? It's not like it's a completely random rule. There's reasons why, right, they only have one gender allowed on the island. And, right, it's a very long-standing exemption, right? Their right to self-government goes back 1,000 years.